right, guys, we are live. The biggest, or the Week 16 takeaways. Guys, there was a lot that happened this week. There's a lot of games to go over. The Patriots Broncos game just ended. So we're going to dive into every game. We're going to react to top comments. We're going to react to everything that happened. We have notes on every game. This is not going to be your standard recap, obviously, with it being Christmas Eve and everything, and this obviously being a live relative rather than a video. So we're going to dive right in, guys. At some point, I can change the video, or with me in the video, and I can kind of like pull up like the box score of the game, if that makes sense, if you guys would prefer that. But right now, guys, Saints-Rams, guys, Kyren Williams he's a very, very underrated back. He had 104 rushing yards and a touchdown in this game. Puka I don't want to say criminally underrated, but guys, Puka went for over 160 in this game. He also had a score. The Rams are a perfect example of a team that nobody wants to play. So right now, guys, I am going to tweet this out that we are live. Hopefully you guys are enjoying. JJ was in fact first. JJ commented first. And so hope for anybody that was commenting first, third, a couple people commenting that. So I did want to go ahead and just let you guys know JJ in fact was first. So guys, drop your comments, drop your big takeaways from Week 16, and like I said, hopefully you guys enjoy here. What's up, guys? Is that a super chat? Wow, I do appreciate that, Josh. Merry Christmas. Thank you for the content, Josh. I do appreciate that a lot. I need the music in the background. That's from a different Josh. There's no music tonight, guys. But Merry Christmas Eve, says Tanner. Appreciate the support, guys. Love your content, brother. I appreciate it, guys. It truly would not be possible without you guys. But Saints-Rams, guys, we're going to, like I said, let me just tweet this out real quick. Guys, the biggest thing with the Saints is, and I cannot emphasize this enough, and I think this just emphasized this, was whenever you watch the Saints play and whenever you watch them play a good team, they're not gonna win. I mean, yeah, they'll beat the occasional team, guys, but they're not a good team. They're not. I mean, I think this game showed it, and I think one of the biggest takeaways that I had entering this game. By the way, I do have the "Tis the Season" shirt on. It's actually of the ugly sweater on. It's of Stephon Diggs tossing the helmet from the Minneapolis Miracle. But guys, that's kind of one of my big takeaways was, the Saints are never going to beat, one of the best teams when it matters with Dennis Allen. Derek Carr didn't play bad in this game. I've been very critical of Derek Carr in the past. But Pete Carmichael, not a great OC, but just the Saints do not scare me even in the slightest. So that was one of my biggest takeaways. They're never going to win with this core group that they have right now. So I kind of want to, move along, and I definitely want to address a lot of comments. Merry Early Christmas, says MVR owner. Jacob, I will get to the Vikings. Like I said, Josh, I do appreciate the super chat. Merry Christmas to you too, brother. To everybody watching. All right, so Bengals Steelers, guys. This one here, what I wrote down, Jake Browning came back down to earth. They had no answer for George Pickens. The Bengals 0-5 in the division this year, 8-2 against everyone else. And now, if you guys did not know, Zach Taylor is 9-20 in division play lifetime. So I don't think the Cincinnati Bengals are, I don't think they're going to be this, this team where it's just like, oh, hey, we're the Bengals, we're going to go to the Super Bowl every year or the AFC Championship game every year. I mean, I'm not saying, that they're bad, obviously, or, that their future is dim or anything like that, but I think people, kind of want to put the Bengals on a pedestal like this and, put them up with, everybody else, and they kind of are, but they're also susceptible more than a lot of people realize. Now, for the Steelers, as crazy as this is going to sound here, feed George Pickens, right? I mean, guys, there's times where I just scream at the TV and I'm just like, guys, what are we doing? Feed George Pickens. There's times where the Steelers get far too cute with it. And guys, I actually am going to pull up a box score because I want you guys to see what I am referring to. So I am going to, let's go ahead and pull this up here, guys. Saints are incredibly mid, says Salvia. I 100% agree. I have to figure out how to do this here, so just give me a second. Bear with me here. No, I definitely agree that the Saints are incredibly mid, and let's go ahead. Let's pull this in here. All right, let's go ahead and pull this back. Actually, let's just not. We're just going to go back to me. Anyway, Redder, how are y'all? We're doing good. No, feed George Pickens. They made it tough for Jake Browning. Guys, TJ Watt is an absolute game wrecker. Obviously, we all already knew that. But guys, there's times where TJ Watt just absolutely takes over, and this was evident in this game. And it's, the Bengals had no answer for him. Obviously, the Bengals offensive line wasn't, very good to begin with. But that was definitely one of the bigger things that was, evident early and often within this game. Let's see here. I also have, they swept the Bengals. Good for Mason. Yeah, it was good for Mason Rudolph. That was another thing. That is the difference between the lives and then, an actual, weekly recap where whenever the weekly recaps are happening, we're just game to game to game to game. So we are going to discuss them a little more tonight. So let's go ahead and go to the Bills Chargers, guys. Gabe Davis showed up finally. Ed Oliver had a big key sack on the final drive. It really slowed down what the Chargers could do. Good win for Buffalo. This was an easy game to trip up and easily look ahead. So I thought that was a great win for Buffalo, rather, not the Chargers. And then a win is a win. That's kind of one of the biggest things that the Bills needed to win. A lot of teams fell today, including the Broncos, and there were a lot of other AFC teams that fell, including the Texans, the Colts, the Jags, really the whole AFC South, which we will get into. But for the Chargers, guys, it's incredible how a team coached or not coached by Brandon Staley looks. They were 13-point dogs heading into this game, and they nearly beat the Bills. Kamani says, yo, big fan, making great videos, keep it up. I appreciate that. Appreciate everyone that's in there. Kamal says, love the work, bro, keep it up. Inside help the fantasy team reach the finals. Hey, I appreciate that too. And make sure to send me a cut. I'm completely kidding, by the way, completely kidding. But no, Gift Smith, guys. Gift Smith looked actually really like the team plays with a lot more passion and fire than you saw with Brandon Staley through the first 14 games or whatever that was. And we go from 63-21 loss to the Raiders to losing 24-22 to the Bills in a game where Buffalo could have very easily just rolled right over him. If Brandon Staley coaches that game, I think the Bills probably win by at least 13 points, which was the spread. Also, I think it was a close game, obviously, but I think it was the best possible outcome for the Chargers. They look solid as a team, and I think this is a great game to recruit Jim Harbaugh, because if I'm the Chargers, I really want them to, if I'm a Chargers fan, I really want them to push for Jim Harbaugh this offseason. And I think there's, I don't want to say a high chance he goes, but I think if Jim Harbaugh is ever going to leave, guys, I think it will be this year. So I think this was the best possible outcome. You get a good draft pick. You look a lot better. You nearly beat a team that could go to the Super Bowl in the Bills with how they're playing recently, and you have a hell of a recruiting pitch in Jim Harbaugh for this game. So let's keep it going here. What other comments do we have? Serious question: did the Bills play down from their last 2 weeks, or did the Chargers play up after getting rid of Staley? I would say it was a little bit of both, but I think the Chargers played up more than the Bills played down. Let's see here. You think the Browns could make a real run? We'll get to it. What's up? That's Lions Talk from Chat Sports. What's up, my man? What's up? Let's go to some of these other. Worst OC and DC in the league. Joe Barry, worst DC. That's from Maple, so I would say he's the worst DC in the league. What other questions we have here? My Pats one says Ashley. That's what's up, Ashley. I'm happy for you. All right, let's keep. Ethan asks, what is your projected AFC playoff breakdown seeds? We'll get to that. But we are on to Sunday. I will get back to Vikings Lions. I have a lot to say about the Vikings. We'll get back to them. Colts Falcons. Atlanta outgained Indy by 140 yards. Arthur Smith finally used his weapons. This game was why I thought Atlanta could be dangerous heading into the year. Not necessarily that Atlanta was going to go to the Super Bowl or anything like that. But what I specifically want to point to in this game was Atlanta as a team ran for 177 yards. They averaged 5.9 yards per carry. And they also had a rushing touchdown. And guys, Taylor Heineke didn't need to be, prime Tom Brady today. He didn't need to be whoever. They just simply ran the ball. And that was fine. And not only that, let's see, what other notes did I have here? Zach Harrison, breakout game for the Falcons today. He had 2 sacks. That was also nice to see. And Michael Pittman did not play for the Colts. That was pretty rough. They could not get anything going all day. And Ritter did get benched, to whoever's asking that. Yes, Ritter did, in fact, get benched. Pay Michael, I don't know if I said Michael Pierce. I meant Michael Pittman. But pay Michael Pittman. The leading receivers in this game for the Colts were Kylan Granson and Will Mallory. Generally speaking, you're not going to win many games like that. So the Colts did not. I mean, this was an all-around just bad game for the Colts, guys. They didn't run the ball well. Outside of a 23-yard run by Gardner, they had less than 70 rushing yards all day. And in fact, they actually, without that Gardner Minshew 23-yard run, which was a clear outlier relative to what they were doing all day, they had 69 rushing yards. Some would say that's nice. I would not say that's a nice total for an entire football game. So all around, not a good game for the Colts. And like I said, pay Michael Pittman and stop Indy's run without their top weapons. It was kind of to be expected, but it was a lot uglier for the Colts than I thought it was going to be. All right, let's get to a couple comments here. Ritter did get benched. Let's go Lions, says Salty Wings and Avs fans. He's a good OG supporter. I've seen him in here before on lives. Let's see here. What if the Atlanta Falcons acquire Justin Fields in a trade? I definitely think that could happen. I just wish as a Jags fan I could have hope. We'll also get to that. Let's go. So let's keep going here. Let's move on to let's move on to Packers Panthers here. Pretty simple here for the Packers. Fire Joe Barry. Aaron Jones played his ass off in this game. Sorry for the profanity. But he played his tail off. Best case scenario for the Packers, given how much a lot of the fans want Joe Barry fired. You know, they gave up a ton. They made Bryce Young look great for the first time, although I do think Bryce Young will eventually be a good quarterback. But you know, if you are a Packers fan, you can easily just use this as a reason to fire Joe Barry. You know that nobody has, that Bryce Young hasn't looked good against anybody, and now that he plays a Joe Barry coach team, now he looks good against you guys. So I did like that for Packers fans, that the bad man may be going for them. And also Tucker Kraft played a good game today, and I think he will be, I don't want to get into rankings, but I think he will be a good tight end for them over the next few years. Seahawks Titans. Oh, wait, sorry. Let's get to the Panther side. Bryce Young will be a solid NFL quarterback. Do whatever you can to help out Bryce in the final few weeks of the year, and obviously this offseason, which we'll discuss a ton on the channel. And this was a win for the Panthers, all things considered. You put up 30 points, and I actually criticized the hell out of the Panthers earlier this week. They had not put up 20 points in a game since, I want to say it was back in week 6. So, yeah, it's good for the Panthers to finally put up 30 points. And now let's go and move on to Seahawks Titans. Seahawks stay alive. It's their hope stay alive now that they are 8-7. Very stressful Seahawks game. It's a very Seahawks game for any Seahawks fans out there. You guys know that the Seahawks are pretty incapable of playing a normal game. This kind of played into that. Back-to-back 20-17 wins for Seattle. Their final games are Pittsburgh and Arizona. Seattle can very easily finish 10-7. So I like the potential for Seattle down the stretch, at least the regular season. I don't want to get into the postseason just because I don't think the ceiling for them is all that high. But good for Seattle, and that was like I said, you improved 8-7, and I really think that they can be 10-7. All right, let's see here. 20 points for anybody is like 40 against a Joe Barry defense. I love that. Browns are nasty. Honestly, Flacco was exactly what the Browns needed. Let's see here. Tua is him, says Evan. Let's see here. Lions Browns Super Bowl. Personally disagree with that one. But anyway, let's go to the Titans here. Derrick Henry has had a down year, and but he played better in this game. I don't think he's back or anything. I just think there's a lot of wear and tear on his body that we're eventually going to start to see that breaking down. That's kind of a different discussion for another day. But it was good to see Derrick Henry bounce back for at least one game. Let's see, what else do we have? Loss is a positive point at this time of the season for Tennessee. Derrick Henry has as many passing touchdowns this year as Ryan Tannehill. Count them, 2. It's been that kind of year for Ryan Tannehill, so it's not ideal to say the least. And the final 2 games are at Houston and versus Jacksonville, and I hope for the Titans' sake that they finish 5-12. So that's kind of the takeaway for the Titans. Beefman, there's a little beef in the comments from Beefman. He said something, he's locked in a basement, or he's telling somebody to go live in a basement. Anyway, let's see here. The comments are getting a little spicy. Browns, Texans. This was a Merry Christmas game for Amari Cooper. He said it to every Browns fans out there. 11 receptions, 265 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Big game for Amari. The Browns are now 10-5. I never would have thought that, especially after Nick Chubb went down, and especially with how many quarterbacks they went through this year, considering they are on their 4th quarterback this year too. So Joe Barry was locked in the basement against KC, and that's why they won. My apologies. Anyway, this game was a lot further than I want to point to this here, this is so weird because it's like reverse. The 30, you get what I'm trying to do. I'm pointing at the Browns game. I'm pointing at the Browns game. Anyway, This game was a lot further than a 14-point final. Like, guys, it was not even close to a 14-point game for the Browns. They played their tails off. I want to credit to them. Obviously, not an ideal game for Houston. The Case Magic was simply not there 2 weeks in a row. And Davis Mills made the score, again, look better than what it actually was. The biggest win for Houston in Week 16 was Indy and Jacksonville, each getting beat by double digits, too. A couple people were asking if I trust Baker. Did we discuss the Bucs game? No, we have not. Let's go ahead and discuss the Bucs game. All right. Here we go. After the Bucs game, we'll get to Commanders Jets. Here we go. Bucs game. Nobody included... Oh, sorry. That was the Jags side. I was going to say nobody including Jacksonville wants to win the division, but we'll get to the Bucs side. Guys, Baker has been absolutely balling the last 2 weeks. He had a perfect passer rating against Green Bay in Week 15, and over the past 2 weeks, Baker has 664 passing yards and 6 passing touchdowns to 0 interceptions in the last 2 games. 4 wins in a row for the Bucs. That's huge for them. I'm happy for the Bucs, but I need to see a playoff win from Tampa before I fully buy into a Todd Bowles coach team. It's not a, I mean, it is a concern. Like, I don't want to be like the Debbie Downer, especially after the Bucs were, they were 4-7, now they're 8-7. Their wins were over the Panthers, Falcons, Packers, again against a Joe Barry coach defense, and the Jags, which was an impressive win for the Bucs. But the Bucs' final 2 games are 2 NFC South games. One is against the Saints, one is against the Panthers. So as crazy as this is going to sound, the Bucs can legitimately win double-digit games. I do trust Baker. Now I think that the DeMar Hamlin, everybody is going to, the comeback player of the year in terms of like on-field performance. Like, I really think Baker should be the comeback player of the year, but I'm not going to go down that whole, rabbit hole, I guess. But I love the year that Baker's had, and I think there's a very real chance that the Bucs have 2 1,000-yard receivers. As far as I know, Chris Godwin is at 893 receiving yards. So Chris Godwin needs a little over 50 yards in each of the final 2 games. So let me just confirm. Chris Godwin is at 892. So he needs 54 yards each of the final 2 games. Thaddeus, Merry Christmas. You make great videos. Do you think the Lions have a chance at winning a playoff game? It's a good question, Thaddeus. It's a good question. Appreciate the super. Merry Christmas to you and your family as well, Thaddeus. And to answer this question, I do. Will they, of course, is a different discussion. I answer a lot of questions like that, in terms of will they. But yes, I think they can. Honestly, I know the Lions lost to the Seahawks earlier this year, but I hope for the Lions' sake that they get Seattle round 1. I think Dan Campbell's going to use that as fuel all week. It's going to be bulletin board material all week for the Detroit Lions. So I hope they get the Seahawks round 1. The one thing for the Lions that I selfishly want as a fan of the Vikings, where I don't have to worry about, my team playing in this game, I very much want a Matt Stafford go into Detroit wildcard round as a fan. But for the Lions' sake and in terms of the future of them, in terms of them winning a playoff game, I do think the best chance is against Seattle, or, of course, if they get the Vikings again with a 4th-string quarterback. But I don't think the Vikings are going to make the playoffs at this point in time. But I do think the Lions can win a playoff game. So again, I do appreciate the super, Thaddeus, and hopefully that answered your question. All right, let's keep it going here. All right, let's go. Commanders Jets. Oh, by the way, I wanted to get back to the Jags real quick because we didn't finish the Jags game. Press Taylor, he's not good. Jags fans know that. Nobody, including Jacksonville, wants to win the division. We discussed that. The whole offense today was bad, and the Jags are not a good team right now. They are not a good team. I have zero confidence in the Jags and anything they do moving forward. And one take that I have is It's a whole Trevor Lawrence conversation, but, Trevor was perceived to be this coming out of college, and he's nowhere near this. If this is like Mahomes, Allen, and everybody else, Trevor's not up here. And obviously it's more than this week because Trevor didn't have a good game today. He obviously wasn't 100% going in. But, guys, I don't think Trevor is ever going to be at that level. Now, that's a different discussion, but I think the Jags have a lot more problems than a lot of people may want to discuss. But what also needs to be remembered is this team is just a year and a half away from having the number 1 overall pick when they selected Trayvon Walker back in 2022. All right, Jags are a team that can't make the next step. I think that summarizes exactly how I feel. Let's see. We ain't losing to the Rams. Let's see here. GG's again. I know some Lions fans were kind of a bit toxic. I mean, like, Salty Wings and Avs fans, I hope that's to me, and, like, I'm not, like, fully reading the comment section, right? I mean, like the back and forths at least. But what I will say is, like, there's toxic fans in every fan base, so definitely a good game. But no, there were some questionable calls on each side. There was one particular roughing the passer where I was like, what are we doing in the Vikings-Lions game? And there were a couple questionable calls on each side. But no, Lions should have won this game. The Vikings turned the ball over on 40% of their turnovers. So that's I mean, you're not going to win games. You're not going to win games when you turn the ball over on 40%, quite literally 40% of your possessions. Anyway, Trevor is better than Justin Herbert. Strong disagree. That's from Chris. Tristan McClung, appreciate the super. Love your vids, man. Keep it going. Who is your number one for the MVP right now? All right, so if you're asking me, like, who I think should win and who I think will win, two different things. However, who I think will win at the moment, especially if he has a good game tomorrow, is the 49ers quarterback Brock Purdy. It's an MVP award. It's gonna take an MVP performance from Lamar tomorrow for Lamar to, like, surpass Brock Purdy. And I know a lot of people are going to push back. You know, Brock Purdy is, you know, George Kittle, Debo, CMC, Brandon Ayuk, and I get it, but that it's just in terms of how the voters vote. I think Brock Purdy is going to be the MVP. All right, let's see here. Let's keep it going here. Trevor is the same or worse than Herbert. I don't think he's as good as Herbert personally. That's just me. The Jets almost blowing a 20-point lead is downright embarrassing. Let's see here. Let's see what other comments. Oh, we'll go back. Speaking of the Jets, we'll go ahead and discuss this. We'll go ahead and discuss Commanders Jets. That was after the Jags Bucs game. Appreciate the super, by the way. That was from Tristan. I appreciate it, man, and hopefully that answered your question. But Commanders Jets, Sam Howell not the guy. I was glad to see that we figured out that, you know, Sam Howell is not the guy. So at least we definitively have that answer. You know, for next year, for the Commanders' sake, you know, it would kind of stink to enter another offseason and basically say, like, you know, how do we feel about Sam Howell? Is he the guy? You know, are we go? You know, let's just play around for another year. You know, are we going to have another whole off season of, man, what do we do? Are we half in or half out? So no, I'm glad that we know Sam Howell is not the guy. I do wish the best for Sam Howell moving forward, of course. But he's not the guy. And for anybody that is wondering, Sam Howell, I do want to pull this up, guys. Let's go ahead and look this up real quick. Sam Howell in Week 16 versus the Jets, he was 6 of 22 for 56 yards. And had 2 interceptions. No touchdowns, of course, so 2 interceptions. Sam Howell, not the guy. And I also want to say that I am glad that they're making Ron Rivera finish the season. I'm glad that they're making Ron Rivera kind of just, you know, sit through the shit, if you will. You know, because, like, Brandon Staley getting fired, that was something else, of course. Like, that was long overdue. But to make, like, Ron Rivera just, you know, stink this whole season out, you know, you traded the pass rushers away. Ron Rivera was already in the hot seat going in, so I'm glad that I read a comment about the Lions. I'm glad that the Commanders are making him, like, you know, like, hey, like, you know, you're fired, you know, the Monday after Week 18, but you know what? Your vacation, it's not starting early, and we will make you sit through these final 2 games. So I kind of like that from the Commanders aspect. It was a successful tank, or it has been a successful tank for the Commanders. This is also a best-case scenario for them. You lose close. You show a little bit of life at the end. But Ron Rivera is definitely a fired head coach at the end of the year. There's nothing that changes my opinion on that, at least. And I think everybody thinks that too. But for the Jets, feed Brees. That is to be expected. Brees had 32 touches in this game, 30 points with Trevor Siemian. That was again good for the Jets. The win is counterproductive in terms of, you know, the Jets tanking, but guys, the Jets roster is also a lot better than a lot of the other, you know, the bad teams across the NFL. So, like, you know, you look at some of the other rosters that we will dive into, the Jets roster is just flat out better. So they're going to win some of these games. Yes, the blown 20-point lead or almost blown 20-point lead is a little frustrating, but it's, you know, you ultimately want to see the Jets, you know, start to win games rather than talk about winning games. So their 6th win of the year. Nice, good for them, but it's obviously, like, we know they're eliminated from playoff contention, but it was nice to see the Jets put together a winning effort. All right, here we go. Austin, love your content, bro. All I want for Christmas tomorrow is to beat the Eagles in Philly with the Gabagool. That's from our boy Tommy DeVito. Tommy's, probably going to enjoy a nice, fresh veal parmesan down from Satriel's, Anyway, no, I love the gabagool, love that, and appreciate every guys. Comment a little something for Tommy right now. But anyway, no, I appreciate that, Austin, and hopefully that happens. I got to be honest, I don't think that's going to happen for you, but I'm with you. I hope that happens. I got to be honest, I don't think it's going to, but anyway, let's move on here. Cardinals Bears. Let's see. Cardinals, guys, they're not a good team. I mean, they got not smoked, but I mean, this game wasn't close either. They got beat by double digits by the Bears. They have absolutely zero receivers. They have no defensive line at all. They need help in the absolute worst way, guys. In terms of a rebuilding team, this is like the true Madden rebuild team. The Arizona Cardinals they're a bad team. There's very few good players. I mean, yes, they have pieces, like Paris Johnson, for example, who was drafted number 6 overall this year. They have other players like Trey McBride. But guys, I want to read the receiving stat lines for the team in this game. James Conner led the way, 67 receiving yards. Greg Dortch, second on the team, 45 receiving yards. Amari DiMaccardo, third with 40 receiving yards. Trey McBride with 31 receiving yards. So they had one receiver today go for over 30 yards, and that was Greg Dortch, who isn't exactly a household name by any means. So it's, guys, they're just not a good team at all. And it kind of showed that. Also, the Bears ran for 250 yards in this game on the dot. They averaged 6.4 yards per carry, 2 rushing touchdowns. Justin Fields had a very nice run in this game at one point in time. But this is honestly how I expected the Cardinals to lose a lot of their games, was just basically to have the running the ball down their throat, and there's just simply not a lot they can do to stop it, simply because they're not a good football team. Let's see here. Cole Kmet is very underrated. I also think he's a very solid tight end. The Bears have now doubled their wins from 2022 to 2023, and I think they can reasonably finish with 8 wins. Their final 2 games, let's take a look. I know one of them is against the Packers. I don't think they're going to get smoked like they did back in week 1, but they play the Falcons and Packers, so the Bears can definitely win 8 games this year. Will they, of course, is something else. But Cowboys, Dolphins. All right, guys, let's have a little chat here. Cowboys, Eagles have each had a tough, kind of little last quarter of the season, if you will. I know there's a couple games still left to play, but there's no consistent run game for Dallas, which bites them in the ass every single week. 7 guys had a carry in this game for Dallas. That kind of shows you like where they are as an offense, that they cannot consistently run the football. That Kevontae Turpin's carrying the football. Dak had 5 carries in this game. CeeDee Lamb had 2 carries in this game. Cooks had a carry. Rico had 2 carries, and even Hunter Lepke had 2 carries in this game. So I mean, guys, 7 players getting the ball is not like, that's never going to be ideal. The refs also were not ideal, especially there was one first down late in the game by Miami where that holding could have been called. I know Dallas fans definitely feel that way, but this is I don't know what the solution to this is. Obviously, we could address it in the offseason and say, oh, let's go trade for a running back. Let's trade for a budding running back, or let's draft one in the in the 3rd or 4th round. This is not a strong running back class, by the way, in the 2024 class. But I don't know what the solution for Dallas is. And by the way, I do want to say to Evan, top 5 quarterbacks right now. I've seen you comment it a couple times. We'll get to that, but right now it's just right now for the recap, but we'll get to that. Let's see here. It's Kellen Moore's illegitimate son. What's up, Bryson? I've seen that comment a bunch of times. It amuses me every time. There's definitely times where people are. I mean, I don't get this a lot, but people are like, yo, like, your takes effing suck. You don't know ball and all that and everything. But like when I get compared to Kellen Moore's like son, that one does amuse me. Let's see here. ISO Miami. He says. Let's see here. He says, let me go ahead. I don't think I can click anything. I can't like pin it. But anyway, ISO Miami. He says, happy holidays. You too as well, brother. Brian, here we go. I love this comment. This is an awesome super, by the way. Brian Johnson is an idiot, and Matt Patricia uses a pencil on laminated paper. Eagles on top. No, so I actually have a couple Eagles friends that very much get they get pissed off with Matt Patricia using the pencil on laminated paper. Quite frankly, I don't blame them. If he were my coach, I would think the same thing. And Brian Johnson definitely does not maximize the player skill sets anywhere close to what they could. All right, let's see here. Volcano says, do I think Vrabel is in the hot seat? I mean, I would say no. It's tough, though, because it's like you can very easily make the case that he is, just because, you know, they're not winning. And, of course, like, Rand Carthon was not the GM that brought him in. I would say no. Because the talent on the Titans roster is not very good. Like, they're not going to win many games this year, no matter who the head coach was. So I would say no. But so anyway, to go back to the Cowboys-Dolphins game, Miami finally beat a good team. Greatest show on surf, baby. Good for Mike McDaniel. Good for Tua. I was very happy for them boys to finally, you know, beat the you know, the winning team that's been a pain in their ass all year. They play the Ravens next week, and they play the Bills in Week 18. So the Dolphins can very easily right the ship, and the Dolphins' number 1 seed for them is still very, very much on the table. And by the way, if I did not already address it, I just did want to say that, you know, I appreciate the super, and hope you have a happy holiday to your family as well. But Jason Sanders, unsung hero in this game, 5 for 5 from field goals. And I think the Cowboys defense, honestly, like, despite giving up 22 points, I thought they played a lot better than what the stat sheet kind of shows. It's never easy to play the Dolphins, especially, you know, in Miami. So I thought the Cowboys defense played better than, you know, giving up 22 points may initially look. All right, let's see here. Hey, love your videos. What do you think the Giants should do this offseason? My man, I got a video coming for you. Not necessarily like the next, like, week, but in January, for a lot of teams like the Giants, you know, the Giants, the Cardinals, the Patriots, we will break everything down. So it's, you know, I kind of wait for some teams to, you know, go through head coaching cycles or head coaching hires and everything. But I will definitely have some videos coming for you. To answer your question, though, the Giants, it's going to be a best player available approach for them, you know, kind of no matter what, like whenever they're on the clock. Like, you know, if they're on the clock at pick, you know, 4 or 5, whatever that first pick is, I don't want them to, you know, pick the 12th best player just because that fits a need. You know, we're going BPA pretty much every approach for the Giants. But O-line and, of course, this cannot be emphasized enough, wide receiver help for the Giants. All right, here we go. If Ravens lose to the Niners, that Fins-Ravens game is going to be crazy, 100%, man. And that's definitely, I mean, I hope the Ravens play at home in the AFC Championship game because I do live in Maryland, and there's a chance that I would go to that game. But that Ravens-Dolphins game is going to be, on New Year's Eve, is going to be fun. And by the way, I do want to say a quick announcement. Guys, New Year's Eve, I will probably, again, be hanging out with my family like I was tonight on Christmas Eve. So we will probably be live 1 week from tonight again, and then week 18, we will have, like, the normal weekly recap. So please let me know your feedback on, like, you know, on this weekly recap, because I really hope you guys are enjoying as much as I am right now, just talking ball with you guys. And so let me know. But we will probably be live again 1 week from tonight, and also doing the weekly recap on Sunday nights like this rather than, you know, the standard weekly recaps on Sunday nights. They really like stress me out. They're really, like, you know, because it's such a tight deadline. So like I said, hopefully you guys enjoyed this as much as I am right now. All right, let's see here. Salty Wings and Avs fans likes the live streams. Let's see here. Let's see what else. Let's see. What do you think will happen to Daniel Jones this offseason? Tommy DeVito has done it when it counted. So I think, I mean, DJ will be on the roster next year no matter what for the Giants. And he's going to be there, like, no matter what. Just because of the contract. Like, they're not going to cut him, and nobody's going to trade Daniel Jones. Like, the Giants would have to trade, like, DJ and a second-round pick or third-round pick to get, like, a fifth-round pick in return just because of how heavy that number is for next year. Excuse me. But DJ he's cuttable after the 2024 season. So, Daniel Jones, he's going to stay on the roster. All right, let's see here. Live is so fun. Appreciate that. Let's keep it going here. What do you think happens to Justin Fields if the Bears get the number 1 pick? Hold on. I'm glad you asked. You ready for it? Here we go. All right. Here we go. Hopefully you guys heard the cracking of the knuckles, because I could not do that again if I tried. But anyway, Caleb Williams or Drake May. I would imagine that they lean Caleb Williams. But to answer that question, guys, Caleb Williams, to me, is the number 1 pick, kind of no matter what. And it's kind of like, hey, like, if you have that player fall into your lap due to a pick that you never would have thought would have happened because you've won 6 games this year and you've improved as, you know, as a team, you can't afford to pass on him. And I know people are going to reply, people, and I got this in a Bears video that I actually got a lot more pushback on than I thought I was going to by suggesting this, but guys, they're not going to pass on Caleb Williams. And I don't think even in this scenario that, they might have, like 4 first-round picks offered to them, I don't think they're going to take that just in case. Like, what if Caleb is the next Patrick Mahomes and they had him fall into their laps again and they passed on him again? I think it's very much going to be like, it's going to be like similar to a PTSD thing where it's like, we have to take him no matter what, simply because he fell into their laps. All right, anyway here. Joseph, my guy, I know him from way back in the day. I saw him comment, Merry Christmas to you too, brother. Hope you have a good one. It is almost Christmas, guys, here on the East Coast. It's 11:59. Let's see here. Give me one reason why Bailey Zappi is not this year's MVP. Let me think here. Let me give you one reason. I'm trying to think. I actually can't think of one. You got a point, man. He actually might be. I can't think of one. I was trying to think of like another quarterback, maybe in the AFC. Maybe Lamar. I mean, Bailey Zappi's probably got it over him. He's probably maybe if Joe Burrow stays healthy, Joe Burrow would have a case over him. But Bailey Zappi, you got a good point there. Or you can have a Marvin Harrison, and I get it. I understand the Marvin Harrison Jr. parts. I completely understand. And I understand, and I know people are going to say, you have Marvin Harrison, you can have Justin Fields, Marvin Harrison, DJ Moore, and then maybe you can even trade that extra pick, that 8th pick or whatever it'd be, and hopefully you get another one out of that. Again, that would be pie in the sky. But I completely understand what you're saying. Caleb's baseline should be what Justin gives us now, and I think it would be. Let's see. Santa Claus is coming to town. All right, so Kyle, Merry Christmas, brother. On Sundays, do you have multiple screens on at once, or do you just watch Red Zone? Multiple screens. Multiple screens is the way to go. Sundays are stressful though because it's constantly just it's like it's a lot going on at once. It really is. But no, Sundays. There's only 18 Sundays. Technically like 22 if you want to go with each, like, the round of the playoffs. But when there's multiple games on, it is just darting the eyes all the time. So Sundays, like I say this 100% joking, but what I want to say is, like, physically, like on Sunday nights, guys, like I mean, as you can see, like I'm not like thick by any means, so I wake up usually weighing like 170 Monday because of like how much I stress myself out with the weekly recaps and everything, and just getting it out on time and everything. It's just like like we gotta get this out by the end of the Sunday night game. I usually drop like 2 pounds every Sunday night going into Monday just because it's like it's a lot going on. So arguably I have more physical toll on my body than NFL players on Sundays because of that, and I'm completely kidding. But Loki says this is a classic Discord. Thing that they always say. The Steelers go into the Super Bowl, and they have it in the font and everything. But anyway, here we go. All right, Joseph. Well, my friend, what are the Vikings going to do at quarterback? I'm hoping for Jaden Daniels. I don't think we're going to be able to get Jaden Daniels. But I think if not Jaden Daniels, I'm a big Michael Penix guy. We have the offensive line to support Penix, he's not very mobile, but when you have 2 tackles and Christian Darrisaw and Brian O'Neill, and of course have the weaponry like JJ, Jordan Addison, TJ, I really hope that it's Jaden Daniels or Michael Penix. All right, one question that I wanted to address. Where was it here? There it is. The Bears Paw. The Bears Paw. I almost read that as the Bears Paw. Anyway, the Bears Paw. Merry Christmas, FA. Love the videos. Like I said, guys, like the videos could not be made without your guys' support, so I truly do appreciate the support. Your Sunday recaps are my favorite thing, especially when I work on Sunday. That's what's up, guys. Like I said, just looking to make an impact positively, guys. First season getting into football, how do I pick a team to be a fan of? All right, I'm going to tell you right now, this is from Professor Swag. 100%, do not pick this team. Do not pick this team unless you are prepared to be disappointed. Sorry, that's disrespectful to JJ. No disrespect to JJ. Unless you are prepared to be disappointed and heartbroken every Sunday, not every Sunday, but a lot of Sundays, do not pick the Vikings, do not pick the Falcons. I'll tell you, a good team right now that you can pick that, it's not really bandwagony because they haven't won anything, but I think the Texans are a good team to pick. You got a good young quarterback, you have a good young receiver, you have a good young head coach, and you have a good young pass rusher. And also, they haven't won anything yet, so they haven't even won a division title. So the Texans, if I were to recommend a team right now, the Texans would be a good team to get into. All right, let's see here. Let's keep it going here. Hit that thumbs up. Appreciate it. Let's see here. Yeah, hit that thumbs up. Joseph said it. I don't think I can pin comments. I can pin it. There we go. Pin comments. There we go. Hit the thumbs up. Very much appreciate it. Helps with the algorithm, and I appreciate everyone being in here right now. Merry Christmas, by the way. Happy holidays. Whatever you celebrate. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. It is officially December 25th on the East Coast. So that's where I am personally. But hopefully you guys, like I said, enjoying it, starting the holiday off with your boy Football Analysis. So hopefully you guys are enjoying it so far. All right, let's see here. Let's go ahead. I can't pin the supers. I don't know why I can't pin the supers. But anyway, from Obi, not a Vikings fan, but I think there's no denying it. JJ is a beast, 100%. There was a 3rd and 27 in the game today that should have been part of a game-winning drive, or yesterday now, that should have been part of a game-winning drive that Nick Mullins just threw an absolute duck at the end, which was a horrible interception. Guys, Nick Mullins could have easily had 5 or 6 interceptions in this game, so it was awful from Nick Mullins in this game. But no, JJ he's one of the best players I've just ever watched, and it's so fun getting to watch him every Sunday. Let's see. How do I feel about your Patriots ruining the tank? So I got to be honest. Oh, my boy Sammy's in here. My guy. Anyway, so about your Patriots ruining the tank. So I got to be honest here. Look, I'm a Vikings fan. The last time my team was in the Super Bowl was back in the 70s. Obviously, you can tell I'm not 45 years old or whatever that is, 50 years old, whatever. You can tell I'm not that old, right? I've never seen my team in the Super Bowl, ever. So, I don't really, feel for you guys. I'm sorry. I know you want, Caleb or Drake, but, look, you got 6. I just want 1. I just want 1 to experience, with my old man. And that's it. That's all I want. I just want 1. I don't care about 6. I mean, yeah, 6 would be cool. I'm not going to sit here and deny 6 Super Bowls, but I just want a singular Super Bowl. So I don't really care. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you guys lost the tank, but and you beat the Broncos. Obviously, you can see by the score right here. This is so weird pointing, but no, have another year. You guys are fine. You got 6 Super Bowls. You guys have the ultimate memory bank to ever just sit back, just close your eyes and just think, man, Teddy Bruschi, Tom, Gronk, Julian Edelman. You guys just have the ultimate. Bill Belichick. You guys have whatever you want. So I don't really care about the Patriots ruining the tank. I'm sorry. You guys got 6 Super Bowls. I just want 1. All right. So I don't feel for you. Let's see here. We need to move on from him. I don't know who he's referring to here. Goff is now the limiting factor for the Lions. I don't exactly disagree. I don't disagree with that. Let's see here. Herbert is top 3. Spicy take. I like it. I'm a big Justin Herbert fan. Love your videos. Greetings from Brazil. That's awesome, Pedro. I really, really appreciate the support, man. That is very humbling to know that, we are impacting people, that far across the world right now. So that is very humbling. 6 isn't enough. I want 7. So that's, anyway, let's keep it going here. Let's see. So I went back in time to see the Vikings blow their Super Bowl game in the 1970s. I mean, guys, dude, it's Christmas and we're taking shots like that. Come on. It's the holidays. Come on. Ultimately, though, no, I did not go back in time to watch us blow a Super Bowl. Let's see. No team will get the 7 Super Bowls before the Steelers. Let's all agree. Let's see here. That was not my take. That was just what somebody said. Let's see here. Does Cleveland have a shot at the Super Bowl? Good question. Let's go ahead and pin this one. I want to kind of just discuss this one for a second. I got to be honest. I would say no. But not because it's the Browns aren't going to run the table. I don't think they will, but it's more of guys, going on the road 3 straight times. I mean, I want the Flacco magic to happen. I want it to be recreated, but I would say no. I don't think they will. If that makes me a hater or a doubter for thinking an AFC team is not going to run the table, 3 straight times in the AFC, one of which would probably be against the Ravens, one of which would be against the Chiefs. The other would, if you have to play the Dolphins, Chiefs, and Ravens each consecutively, I don't like anybody's chances, let alone the Browns. Let's see here. Joe Flacco about to go on a tear and win the AFC somehow. I would enjoy that. Let's see. Do I follow any other sports as close as I do football? I saw that question somewhere. To be completely honest, no. There's just, I don't want to be that guy where it's everybody knows a person right now I work, 87 hours a week, I was at the office this week from, 5 a.m. to 11 p.m. and, I actually forgot to go to the bathroom one time. Everybody knows a guy like that. I don't want to, sound like that, even though I'm going to, but, it's not like I can't keep up with every league the way that I do football, just in terms of, like, this guy might get hired, this guy might get hired. So to answer that question, no, just because it is like it's a full-time job to keep up as much with everything going on. And by the way, we are starting a podcast soon, so I do want to let you guys know that we are starting a podcast soon, and that's something that I can't wait for. All right, let's see here. What other questions do we have here? I work 70 to 80 for a short time. You turn into a zombie. You 100% do. And to be completely honest, after this live is over, which is not going to be anytime soon, because I think we're all having a great time right now. I know I sure as hell am. I'm gonna be like slumped. I'm gonna just wake up tomorrow. It's gonna be Christmas morning. Santa hopefully visit. Hopefully I was a good boy this year. Hopefully everybody watching was good this year. Hopefully Santa visits tonight. Let's see here. All right, my boy Sammy. Sammy, you got to chat in the Twitter DM, bro. I haven't heard from you recently. He said Steelers winning the Super Bowl, and then he said, what do I think about the Steelers? I think they should fire Tomlin, honestly. Like, I know that's kind of a hot take, but guys, like, I don't think Mike Tomlin is, I don't want to say the answer, but, like, guys, like, Mike Tomlin is, they haven't won a playoff game since 2016. I mean, guys, we are talking about a guy that, TJ Watt is in his 7th season and he's never won a playoff game. Like, Jared Goff was the number 1 overall pick. Carson Wentz was the number 2 overall pick the last time this team won a playoff game. I don't know how much longer you can just, be like, like, we're good. Like, Mikey T will lead us out of it. I don't know how many years you have to sit and actually, like, deal with that. So I think Mike Tomlin should be canned personally. I know that's kind of a hot take. I know some people don't agree with that, but that's, I think Mike Tomlin should be out. All right, so Pedro has a comment about Jared Goff, his contract, which I will get into. But personally, I want to get into Austin's comment first here. I want to see the Browns and Lions. I'm trying to, like, click the comment. Okay, I want to see a Browns and Lions Super Bowl. That would be awesome. It'd be right around the lake, right around Lake. I'm probably going to mess this one up. I think it's Lake Erie. No, it's Lake Erie, right? Lake Erie. Right around the lake, Cleveland, Detroit. That'd be pretty awesome. Especially if Joe Flacco versus Jared Goff, it'd be a fun time. I just simply don't think it's going to happen. Again, just because of a team that plays out in the Bay Area. I don't see the Lions going out to San Francisco and winning. All right, let's see here. Okay, so I wanted to go back to, I love Ernie the Elf Browns mascot. Absolutely, Joe, I do too. Appreciate you being in here, by the way. Let's see here. Santa visits and re-ups Kirk's and JJ's contract. Let's go, baby. Let's hope that happens. Anyway, there was a comment here. Pedro, $40 million, 4 years guaranteed for Goff. If you're the Detroit front office, do you take it? Yes, but I don't think that's a reality. Because, and this is one thing that I will reference in videos a lot this year, or a lot this offseason, guys, and what I can't emphasize enough here is, guys, Daniel Jones had a 4 for 160 last offseason. That's 40 a year on the dot. No quarterback. Jared Goff, Kirk, specifically those two. We'll just lean specifically those two. They're not going to say, yeah, I'll take 40. They're not. I mean, each of them are so much better than DJ that they're not going to look at a guy that is inferior to them and say, you know what, I'm fine with them with being paid the same as him. They're not, and their agent won't allow it either. Their agent's going to say, look, like, how can you look at that bum getting paid and just basically say, like, look, like, my guy's getting more than that. And that's how it's going to go. So Detroit's front office would sprint to that. But it's just, no offense, I just don't think it's going to happen. Evan, top 5 quarterbacks right now. I'm going to include like Joe Burrow in that, even though he's hurt. So I'm going to include quarterbacks in that. So we'll get to that in a minute. My guy Claw with the $2, appreciate it. And he says, I'm excited for draft as a Bears fan, QB plus wide receiver. Yeah, my ideal scenario for the Bears right now is Caleb Williams, Malik Neighbors, and DJ Moore all in Chicago next year, being coached by Ben Johnson. So I think that there's a real chance of that, and I really, really hope that happens for them. Even my guy George Washington, he's here on Christmas. He said, did your mic die? And then he said, never mind. So George, appreciate you being in here, man. Technology, guys, it's crazy. First president of the United States is in here. Kermit the Frog asks, can I do an in-depth video on how stupid the Saints front office is? I mean, I wouldn't, like, go out and say, like, Mickey Loomis, like, I know more ball than him. He's an idiot. I would not, like, do that. But some of the decisions that they have made are certainly questionable, including giving Derek Carr a $150 million contract. So, short answer, yes, I will make a video. Longer answer, it's not going to be exactly like that, but it's going to be that the Saints really need to, tear it down. All right, so top 5 quarterbacks. All right, let's go here. I'm still gonna have Pat at 1. I know this year has not been good for Pat or the Chiefs. I still think Pat is 1. I don't think the help that he's had this year has been good outside of one player, and maybe 2 players if you include Rashee Rice. So I'll include Rashee Rice, but I would still say Pat 1. I would say Josh 2. I would also say let's go ahead and one here. Let's see here. I would say Pat 1, Josh 2, and Pat 1, Josh 2. I'd probably say Joe Burrow 3. I would. Somebody said Tyson Bagent 4. Tyson Bagent's certainly up there. No, so I would say, like I said, Pat. I'm sorry, I was just deleting a comment. I'm sorry about that. I had to delete a comment. I'm sorry about that. Anyway, Pat, Josh, Joe. I want to just look up some things real quick before I fully get into here. I want to hear you guys have it 4, by the way, because I had a list before the season started, and I just want to make sure I'm not forgetting anybody, because the minute you forget somebody is the minute that you don't know ball and that you're an idiot and that you don't know anything. So that's kind of why I'm just making sure that I'm not forgetting anybody. Lamar and Herbert is probably 4 and 5. I do like that take from Beefman. People are going to be talking about Brock Purdy after this year. So I would have, Dak after this year is certainly up there. Let's see here. So I would have Josh Dobbs 5, good take there. Lamar at 4, Jalen at 5. All right, let's go ahead and get this out of here. Hold on here. Pat 1, Josh 2, Joe 3, Lamar 4. Guys, who is 5? I'm going to go Dak after this year. I'm going to go Dak at 5 after this year. He has been killing it this year. Dak has absolutely, he's been balling, so I would go Dak after this year. Who is my MVP right now? It is Brock Purdy, although it is 100% a quarterback award. That is who I think will win MVP, so it would be Brock Purdy. Let's see. If Tom Brady didn't retire, he's 1. Personally disagree. Tua has been great. Thoughts on Lions after the Vikings game? Let's see here. The Lions, let me read you my exact notes that I had written down, because I went on a Vikings rant. So let me go ahead and Lions, I put they ran the ball effectively, which they did. If they play like this, they will certainly be a tough out. They forced 4 turnovers defensively. Good teams beat not good teams, which they certainly did this day. And I wanted to credit Motor City Dan Campbell for this win. All right, does anybody know how to delete one of the users that just keep spamming comments? I'm just gonna, I don't know how to kind of go around that. So if Purdy is your MVP, I assume the 49ers have to win tomorrow. 100% yes. 49ers have to win, and I think there's an actual chance that if the Ravens win tomorrow, that Lamar could be MVP. It's gonna be kind of dependent. I mean, each quarterback has to, of course, play good. The bots are indeed out on Christmas. So let's see here. What are your thoughts on Tua? Can he take the Dolphins all the way? I would say probably not this year. I hope he does, though. I'm a big Tua fan. I'm a big Mike McDaniel fan. I hope he does, but I don't think it's going to happen this year. All right, let's see here. All right, I think a top 5 quarterback is a team-changing player, and I respect Brock Purdy, but I don't think he can impact the team like the other top 5 can. I think I would agree with that. Who do I have on spread tomorrow for Ravens-Niners? I would personally choose the Ravens. It's at 5.5. I would personally choose the Ravens. Let's see. Do I like the Rams' future? Yes, actually, surprisingly, I do. Yes. I know I was kind of out on them entering the year, but I kind of, yes, I like their future a lot. They had a pretty solid draft this year. Obviously, drafting a guy like Puka Nacua will certainly, impact that in a big way. All right, let's keep it going. What other comments do we have here, guys? Oh, the 49ers will win tomorrow. I think the 49ers will win tomorrow. I think it'll be 27-24. I think it's going to be a very fun game. I also think we'll also get Travis Kelce to score, Chiefs to win. That's one thing that I am very much looking forward to. All right, Niners, Bills, Super Bowl. I think it'll be Niners, Ravens. Can Baker and the Buccaneers go on a playoff run playing like this? Yes, playing like this, but... All right, so we went from politics to just a different trolling here. Anyway, we're just going to go ahead and remove that one. Anyway... The Bucs can, if they play like this, but I still don't trust Todd Bowles just based on just based on like, past experience, I am not a big Todd Bowles guy. I've never been a big Todd Bowles guy. But when the Bucs play like this, they can. They can. All right. Let's see here. How do I feel about Dennis Allen? Canned. Not a fan at all. Let's see here. What player do you think is most disappointing this year? I think it's Justin Jefferson. He did get hurt, but disappointing nonetheless. So it's definitely not Justin Jefferson. No, no, I'm not. That's no. Anyway, so let's go ahead. The most disappointing player this year, honestly, like one of the first that comes to mind. Tony Pollard he's been underwhelming all year. I really thought Tony was going to take the next step, and he had a big year last year. But I was really disappointed with. I thought that he could have been, like a 1,400-yard back like he was in 2022 and just, continued to be that player for another year or two, but he just wasn't. He just disappointed all year. Oh, my guy, George Washington, he's back commenting. He said Bryce Young has been so disappointing. George, I got to be honest, I don't think Bryce has been too, he has, of course, but, there's a lot that factors into that. So it's Eckler's another big one, whoever said Eckler. Claypool, 100% yes. Von Miller, he was also coming off an ACL injury. So I don't really hold that one against Von all that much. Let's see. What do I see in the future of Bryce Young's career? We'll definitely dive into this a lot more in the offseason and in a professional video, if you will, rather than me kind of just talking on the live. But I do like Bryce Young's future actually quite a bit. I like Bryce Young a lot I liked him a lot as a prospect. And Bryce, I will sit here and say this, Bryce was my number one quarterback prospect last year over CJ Stroud. He was. But you have to have the pieces around Bryce. Bryce is similar to, hear me out here, similar to Drew Brees in the sense where you have to have a solid offensive line. You have to have players that get open, or that, where Bryce can just, loft it. Bryce is such a good anticipator. He's a good, Bryce's IQ is high as hell. It is high. So I like Bryce a lot, and I think he's going to be fine. All right, let's see here. Thoughts on Allen getting 4 straight 40 touchdown seasons? Will he get an MVP? I don't think he's going to go in this year because the record plays so much into that for the Bills. So I don't think he's going to get it this year. I obviously think Josh is an MVP caliber player, and he is my number 2 quarterback in the NFL. But no, Josh is the only thing that's going to stop Josh from being a future Hall of Famer is health. He just needs probably 2 or 3 more NFL seasons, and he's a Hall of Famer. Maybe 3, but you get the point. Let's see here. It's not fair to call Bryce Young a bust year 1. Completely agree. I'm going to go ahead and pin this one because it makes me feel good. Where was it? Oh, no. Where was it? Hold on. I'm sorry, guys. The comment. Here it is. This one made me feel good. It's Christmas. It made my Christmas so far. Really appreciate it. Lil Bronco says, Merry Christmas, bro. You're my favorite NFL YouTuber. I appreciate that. And guys, there's so many other guys that make great content that whenever people legitimately say hey, you're my favorite NFL content creator, it really, really does mean a lot. And I hope you guys do enjoy the face content. Hopefully you guys enjoy seeing the mug on the channel, because I do intend to do more lives more lives, yes, but I do intend to have slightly more face cam coming up. So it's not going to be if I have a 14-minute video, it's not going to be 9 minutes of it's going to be face cam, but maybe a minute, maybe a minute and a half. I do intend to have a little more face cam on the channel coming up. So really do appreciate that. Merry Christmas. Appreciate it, Beefman. You too. Nof, not sure which. Merry Christmas to you too. London, you as well. But like I said, appreciate everyone being in here. All right. Thoughts on the Bears going for MHJ and an edge rusher versus Caleb or Drake plus Joe Alt? All right, let's see here. So Drake and Joe Alt would be an interesting one. I would very much like that. You'd get a quarterback and left tackle, and you still have your receiver of the future in DJ Moore. So I would like that. But no, I think the Bears, I like any outcome they have. I just think it's going to be Caleb. Whenever you kind of put your foot down on hey, I think it will be Caleb Williams. I do think it will be Caleb Williams. It's kind of what's your thoughts? I like any situation the Bears do, as long as it's not something egregious like Michael Penix number 1 overall. As long as it's not egregious, I like quite literally anything the Bears will do. And that's kind of the the gist of what the Bears are doing here. All right, let's see here. Loving the face cam content and the live streams as well. Merry Christmas. Appreciate that, man. Let's see here. What do you think Hunter Renfrow is, or what do you think is going to happen with Hunter Renfrow this offseason? The thing with Hunter Renfrow is he's just been underutilized like crazy. Hunter Renfrow, his career arc it's absolutely unreal. I actually want to pull this up here. Let's go ahead and pull this. Like, the career arc is just like not what you would expect. Hunter Renfrow, 103 receptions in 2021, 1,000 yards, 9 touchdowns. 2022, 36 receptions, 330 yards, 2 touchdowns. And now here we are in 2023. Granted, he only played 10 games last year, so that will impact it a little bit. But, I mean, it's not like you play 17 games, have 100 receptions, and then you play 10 games and you only have 36. And here we are in 2023, 14 games played, 25 receptions. I really think Hunter Renfrow is just one of the most just kind of like underutilized just players. I mean, guys, like like Derwin James, forget my opinion for a second. Forget Derwin James, or forget me. Derwin James himself in an interview has said that Hunter Renfrow was the toughest guy he's ever had to cover, and that he said basically to, quote, watch the tape. Like, and then the Raiders and Josh McDaniels, obviously everyone, criticizes the hell out of Josh McDaniels, rightfully so, by the way. But why would you have a player go for 100 receptions and 1,000 yards and then just, he'll have 60 receptions over the next 2 years? There's times where NFL teams simply do things that I don't understand the thought process for any of it. And that's one of them. That is one of them. So I would imagine he's gone this offseason. Let's see here. Somebody said you go a lot more in depth, which I really appreciate in terms of like a content viewing standpoint. So I do appreciate that. That means a lot. I try to thoroughly explain everything that I'm thinking. I try to leave like no stones unturned. So I do appreciate that as well. All right, let's see here. All right, several Hall of Famers had brutal first years. Indeed, you're right. Merry Christmas. You too as well. Who do you think wins Lions-Cowboys next week? Man, the Cowboys need a win in the absolute worst way. I don't know if you like. I would probably say Cowboys. But that's a tough one. I'm gonna look into this. I think it's in Detroit, right? Let's take a look here a little bit. Bryson Bailey, I've seen him comment a lot actually before. But that's my guy, Kellen Moore, Baby Moore. He actually said that in the comments. So I actually said Bryson's name without addressing the Baby Moore part before he even said it. So appreciate it, Bryson. And Lions win. Good for you, man. What's crazy is ever since like I got really like into YouTubing, like I obviously love the Vikings, but like it's just going down. So the Cowboys play home against the Lions Saturday night. That's gonna be a fun game, guys. That's gonna be a really, really fun game for everyone. It's in Dallas. It is in Dallas. Good call, Thad. Do the Lions get the 2 seed? I would say, actually, that's going to be pretty much predicting the Cowboys game. I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no. Cowboys can't figure them out. Have no idea what team will show up. And exactly. And I said actually early in the year that, and I took a lot of heat for it. I mean, you take a lot of heat, whatever you kind of say, like, you react on a week-to-week basis reasonably. I'm not saying that, the Falcons won today, that, they beat the Colts now, that they're going to the Super Bowl because of that or anything like that. But I thought the Cowboys defense, with how they played against the Giants in week 1, the 40-0 shutout, and then the 30-10 win over the Jets, I was like, this team can go to the Super Bowl. They allowed 10 points in 2 games, and then what happened next week? They give up 28 points to Josh Dobbs of the Cardinals. So you never know which Cowboys team's going to show up. And actually, by the way, I think I might take back. That Cowboys prediction, and I might say that the Lions win. Just because the Lions are so like they can run the ball so good. They can run the ball so good, and that is a problem for the Cowboys. All right, let's go here. What other questions do we have here, guys? What other questions do we have? Josh Dobbs is him. He was at a point. He is not him anymore. Let's see here. Trevor Lawrence for disappointment of the year is a good take. I like that take as well, guys. I am not a Trevor fan at all. Like I want him to do well. But I don't sit here with any sort of confidence to think like, man, Trevor is the guy. If he is cool, but like I don't sit here with any sort of confidence like, man, like Trevor Lawrence is going to get to that Mahomes level, he's going to get to that Allen level. I'm not a big Trevor guy. To a top 5 close, I did not have him in the top 5. Jahmyr Gibbs is the guy. Loved him coming out of Alabama last year. He was my number 2 back behind, of course, Bijan Robinson. So love Jahmyr and happy to see him have success. Do I think the Rams should bring back Sebastian Joseph Day? Yeah, I was surprised he got cut. That was a weird one. Bridger, I did see this comment earlier. Jordan Love thoughts.
I actually like Jordan Love a lot. I think he's a really good player. And Bridger, this will also be addressed in a video at some point coming up. But guys, the Packers offense was so young this year, and I've talked about it briefly on the channel here and there, but guys, Tucker Kraft, Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs, Jaden Reed. I mean, guys, these are all just young players. So, like, no doubt that Jordan Love is going to struggle at some point this year. I like Jordan Love a lot. Again, now, whenever you say you like a quarterback, it's like, oh, is he going to be, the next whoever? I don't know. But I like Jordan Love a lot. And Salty Wings and Abs also comment on Musgrave. I knew I was going to forget somebody. You also always forget somebody. So, yes, they also have Musgrave. I like him a lot. Let's see here. Here's a good comment. Lions will never make it to the Super Bowl, man. Get the out of here is what H. Brezzy said. Jalen Hurts thoughts. He's not himself. I don't think he's himself. I mean, I think that's pretty clear. I think anybody like watching the Eagles would agree with that. Especially consistently. That Jalen Hurts has not been himself. And hopefully he snaps out of it on Christmas Day. It'd be nice to see the Birds get a good, comfortable win, especially with Jalen Hurts playing good. Who do I think is better, Lawrence or Herbert? I'm admittedly biased. I'm a big Justin Herbert fan, but I do think Justin Herbert is better. I still think Achane is going to be the best running back out of the 2023 class. Could very well be. I really think that it should be Bijan. Great offensive line, great player. Coach with his head up his ass as a play caller, but I think it should be Bijan. But no, it definitely could be Achane. Let's see. I wanted to see what my guy Joseph commented. Packers D is rather bad for the draft capital they put into it. He's 100% right too, by the way. That could also be a Joe Barry thing, where we saw as simple as one game was with Brandon Staley, how much they look different. But guys, I do want to say that I appreciate everyone being here. That's going to wrap up right now, that's going to wrap up tonight's live. And with next Sunday night being New Year's Eve, we will probably be live again. The weekly recaps are stressful to make. So like I said, I'm glad that everybody enjoyed this. Like I see a lot of people still in here. A lot of people have commented, a lot of people have been in here for, an hour now. So I want to say Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, whatever you celebrate. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. Hopefully everybody enjoyed. Appreciate everyone commenting. Appreciate everybody that dropped supers. Appreciate everyone's support, guys. It really, really means the world. And guys, there's going to be a lot of good content coming up in the future. So it's I can't wait. New Year. It's going to be New Year, same channel, of course. But some dude just dropped a YouTube play button. I don't know how you did that. That's pretty awesome. Hopefully that's a subscription. But anyway, love you guys. Merry Christmas. And like I said, if nobody is going to say it, Merry Christmas. Love you guys.